Hi everyone, this is the Lady Strange. This is the weekly collective reading for the week of July 6th of 2025 to July 12th of 2025. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome and thanks. So this week I will be using, as I have been and been called to the past couple weeks, the Lacrimosa Tarot to be the representative of the archetypal energy, and that reflects the energies and the embodiment and what this collective this represents brings into discernment by Rose Bay. I will be using the main tarot I'm using, as I have been. Again, this is a continued great pairing in resonance. This is the lovely Void Tarot by Sari Nissan, I believe. A beautiful deck of black and red and white. So yes, of course, my aesthetic, as you can see, or if you watch any of my previous videos at all. So there's that. And that's going to be the tarot. And of course, my favorite oracle, no surprise, but ties in with the colorations, the aesthetic, and they speak very well together, these decks do. This is out of print. This is by Syrian Shadows. It'd be nice if it comes in, because I certainly would love a backup copy, even if it was mass-produced. But alas, it still isn't. But I'm grateful to have this beautiful, magical, lusty tool in my thing. In my collection, and it speaks very well with a very evocative voice and very truthful, but yes, also at the same time, very much of a riddle, much like the Lacrimosa and Void. So very interesting. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get this, see what this reading has for us this week, the energies, the message, and what we most need to know that we can bring into discernment in our energy and our experience, our interactions, our relationships, and the day-to-day life experience, but how we can bring our own personal magic and touch to that and our own essence to have a better, more effective, empowered week this week. No matter what that may be, or challenges may be, or for us. I'm just moving my incense around so I don't completely destroy these indie decks. Sorry about that. Also, I'm getting connected to the source, to my guides, and to that which I work with and walk with. So, let's see, what do we have here for this collective? What archetype represents this collective this week? What collective, what energies does an archetypal energy, should I say, that is representative of this collective, what they embody, what they hold, what they carry throughout their life, their experience, and what they can use, wield, and bring into discernment this week. What represents this collective this week? And what energies do they need to wield or be representative for this particular collective that I'm also a part of? See the top one, and we have the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands, let me put these over here so they don't get destroyed by my table. So the Eight of Wands. So I love this deck because I love the black background and the black open space, sort of like a reflective portal that you're reaching into and connecting with. So, and I love how this deck has its own imagery, voice, collage art. She definitely connected when she did this. And it's got a lot of religious iconography in it. However, I'm open to that. This deck, Lucifer and Hades, speaks through to there, so you may be stepping through. Now, the Eight of Wands, you as a collective, and knowing as you're a representative of this collective, as I mentioned, you are very driven. And this week, you're feeling the energy of being driven. You're also giving messages and receiving messages. Giving messages to others by giving good sound advice, listening to your heart, but listening to your fire, and having the courage to deliver those messages, but also to receive the messages from others around us, our relationships, your experiences, but using your fire, your passion. That's what the Wands is fire, passion, the act, the planning, the manifestation, the decisions that one makes to bring things into fruition. So this week is, as said, the Eight of Wands here, this lovely Eight of Wands. So you feel very driven, very, feel the call to action, much like the Judgment card. Rise and move forward, propel yourself forward, take in what has been happening the past couple weeks and the past couple months, and now move forward. Take those action steps as they are being much more careful and discerned. You've heard the message, you've been given the message, now enact that. Use that fact is that you can receive and give messages very clearly, but take those that you know that you can now take and be better prepared to take those action steps that you are ready, mentally, physically, energetically, and emotionally. But you can do what you need to do, but with courage and strength, and that you have more faith in yourself, your situation, what you have, and what you will be putting forth. This week will be a lot about those actions which will bring into your future. So follow the call, follow the message, follow that fire, that passion, and take those steps. Don't be inactive, take actions. Even if they're the most smallest, minuscule things, they will lead to bigger wins. And not only will you be helping yourself, but you will be helping those things and those circumstances in your life that matter. So very fast-moving energy and being propelled this week. So be prepared for that also. Your driving passion, but that you're being propelled for, and be receptive to the messages, and be receptive to giving the messages, even if they're a bit harder. Have the courage to enact upon your will in a healthy, effective, empowered way. Of course, don't impede upon others too much. It's all about mutual reverence, respect. Everything should be not just a one-way street, but a two-way relationship and path in our relationships, our interactions, and what we put forth. But to each their own. So let's see. So the central energies, now that we know what this archetype has and will be affecting them and acting and holding within themselves, and some action steps that we can take. The central message and energies this week, what does this collective need to know? What energies will be stepping forth, be representative, that this collective needs to be mindful of, aware of, discern, and bring into discernment with that action, those messages, and putting forth and being propelled forward with what has already been built and what this collective wants to build in their day-to-day life and day-to-day experiences and better what for. So what do we as a collective most need to know? Central message, energies for this upcoming current week that started. One of my favorites, of course, the forbidden fruit, I call it. And of course I'm going to be bit up by mosquitoes. That's why I don't film much out here in my yard, because this is a very mosquito-laden area, and being a diabetic, I am delicious for the mosquitoes. Yeah, with my sense of humor. But seriously, apple, take a bite. Yeah, mosquitoes, yeah, they're take a bite of me, all right. Just like if you watched my last video posted 2 days ago, you're going to see basically a bee. Very minor. I think I just stopped it before it fully gave me a sting, luckily, but still, you'll see those in the bloopers that are me. That's me. I'm unfiltered. What you see is what you get. So the apple, the central message, take a bite. Take that bite. Go for it. But also a bite and to relish what you that you do. You're doing what you want to do and what you like to do. You're following your heart, your passions, your call. You're being a better version of yourself. And take that bite, follow those temptations, maybe those lusty things, having that extra cup of more expensive coffee, having a glass of wine, having that extra long bath, taking a walk, taking a jog, sitting down with a good lusty book, whether no matter what type of literature you might like, watch that movie you like, or movies, watch that show, replay it again, maybe expand your horizon by taking the bite. Taking the bite centrally also means following the temptation, but not being afraid to, in the knowledge of truth that the apple brings. What does that fruit have to offer, and what may it taste like? And hey, trying something new and taking a bite out of it, but with the courage to do so. Hey, you may expand your horizons, your perceptions, your interactions, and find new things that you may try or bring in action. I do see this collective will be bringing in a lot and taking that bite or taking that fruit of truth, knowledge, and that actions. That's also what that means. And let's see, centrally, so besides the apple and taking a bite out of life, out of experience, but having lust, taste, and truth, what else will be presenting themselves besides the opportunity to take the bite, to take the actions, to follow the passions and propel forward? Feeling that fire, hearing, speaking your voice, but also listening to the voice of others, and rather quick actions, decisions, thinking and acting fast on our feet this week, but be willing to do so in taking that bite. That's the willingness to respond and react effectively as need be. And what's presented by that apple or the apples of life and circumstance. So let's see what is going to explain, clarify, and be a conjunctive message to the apple, and take a bite before I get a bit up too much. Okay, top and bottom. I'm being told, so top and bottom. And I think I have my deck upside down, probably. No surprise. A great card. Strength. I love the black and red, but how the white pops out. But all that space, just like the Lacrimosa had, that I love. So, strength. Fortitude, the inner strengths, the strengths that you have within yourself, the strength of your experience, the strength of your relationships, the strength of your knowledge, and the foundations that you have built and continued to build, and those you've left behind and created. Build strength and fortitude, but also the lust of the strengths, knowing that you can face what you need to face with certainty, with action, will, and taking no matter what presents themselves with that energy and the willingness to do so, and facing your fears and breaking through your limitations. And you already have, so it's an example that you have the support you need. You may not see it, but you are your own support, first and foremost, and then whatever your spirit or spiritual path is, should I say, or your guides, or those that guide you in this life. The people, the animals, our pets, nature, co-workers, whatever. It's all the strength that they can provide, the comfort, but the certainty. That's what strength is to me, the certainty to knowing and that you can show up for yourself. This collective will be showing up for themselves by embodying the Eight of Wands and taking that sort of full energy of the leap of faith of taking the bite and savoring the experience at the same time and feeling. So, and at the bottom of it, let's see. One second. Okay, here we go. Getting sort of mixed signals and messages in there in my channeling at the second. But, okay. And I just got this deck several weeks ago, so still getting a bit more familiar to her imagery and her voice and her effectiveness and how she interacts and how, of course, me and the spirits and beyond the veil interact. So it's a building, working relationship as of everything else, and as I am with my magical tools. So this is the Ten of Wands. This was on the bottom. So this is what lies beneath, to me, the shadow energy, what is affecting behind the scenes that's not necessarily so apparent. But also maybe that is moving us through and forward on here as an energetic resonance and experience. Yeah, okay, here we go. So with that being said, there is a strong advice being shared at no wonder. Time to release those burdens even further. What are your burdens that you really need to address that are not yours, that were pushed upon you and are consistently being thrust upon you? What is it really your responsibility to hold on to? Why? Here's another message I'm getting. Seriously, I'm falling really into the channeled trance. What are you really holding on, and why are you taking on so much? As a collective, why are you taking on more than you can kind of bite off? Be more mindful of what is really your responsibility and what is not, and what is the energies of others, and what is the actions that you can take, and not to give in so much to overwhelm, but just to know you have the strength. Don't let overwhelm overtake you by taking on more than you can. Basically, don't bite more off than you can chew, sort of. That's also the conjunctive message. What can you release? What burdens are you holding on to? What actions are you taking too many at once? Maybe you have to be more mindful and more planning of that fire, like as another wands. So we have a wands fiery energy. What are you taking too much action of and scattering too much energy, or holding onto too much? Maybe more focus, maybe a bit more discipline, maybe a lot more discernment. That's what I'm being guided towards. It is going to be a very empowered week. You're going to move forward leaps and bounds. That's what I'm saying, and that's the guidance I'm getting, with strength, with courage, with will, with action, and certainty. That's the big message coming through right now. That's not only for all of you, but it's for myself. So I'm getting a big message out at me. I'll send this to you, but it's going to be effective because with discernment, strength, courage, taking that bite and relishing it, and those experiences, big and small, planning and releasing the past and realizing what is yours and what isn't yours, this collective's going to have a great empowered week. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If this does resonate with you, please let me know and comment below. It's greatly appreciated you watching and sticking through this. is greatly appreciated. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as my message, I hope, is reaching others as others' messages reach me, as we're all a collective here in this thing called life. And with that, stay strange.